We are talking about burial rites today. Like, that doesn't give me anxiety. So today's topic is burial rites. You know, what do we do in our path? What do we do when after someone passes away? If you don't know me, I'm very thanatophobic. If there's one thing that gives me anxiety, if I think about it long enough, it's death. I'll be honest about that. So yay, we get to talk about death and burial. Oh, joy. My favorite thing. You know, if you've been watching my previous videos, you know that my path is a little mixed. I wouldn't say that I'm wholly and 100% one sort of thing. If I were to have to label it and say something, I would say I'm a Hellenic pagan. That being, I'm Greek, that I try to reconnect to the ancient Greek religion and practices. While I may not fully practice everything, it's my aim and goal and kind of like my reference point for these questions. So every question that is asked, I somehow try to bring it back to the Greek tradition, even though I may or may not practice it or may not fully believe in it, whatever it is. I will, share with you those specific traditions and rituals because it's relevant to pagan perspective. For this question about burial rites, I am going toward, this is my reference. This book is my reference for a lot of traditions for the Hellenic pagans. This is Hellenic polytheism, household worship. This is the English translation from a Greek book that is published in Greece by a community of Greek pagans who are reviving Hellenism in Greece. So this is a good resource for learning about those practices. And there is a chapter on burial and funerary rites, so I figured I would share some of the things in this book with you. So it says here that burial and funerary rites are sacred to Hellenic tradition. It is considered hubris to deny the prescribed burial and funerary honors to the deceased. These rites are considered to be just, lawful, and sacred. The rituals begin with the preparation of the deceased, followed by a period of lying in repose, after which the funerary procession, burial, and the funerary supper take place. The rendering of honors occur on the third day, the 9th day, the 13th day, and the first anniversary following the death. Preparation. This phase begins with the closing of the eyes of the deceased by the family and friends who are present at the death, after which the following actions are taken either by the family or, due to modern circumstances, by those commissioned by the family. The body of the deceased is washed with warm water or wine and then is rubbed with scented oil or myrrh. Laurel or olive leaves are placed on the deceased, and the body is then covered with a white linen or any bright white clothing. On the head of the deceased is placed a wreath of gold, silver, bronze, or seasonal flowers. This is the trophy awarded to them for having broken the thread at the finish line in the contest of life. That's interesting. The face is covered with a white linen cloth known as the cowl. The covered body is decorated with ribbons, jewelry, etc. A coin is placed inside the mouth. This is the offering to Chiron, the ferryman who facilitates the crossing to the underworld. Then we have the lying in repose. The body of the deceased is moved to a room where it will lie in repose for loved ones, friends, and family to pay their respects. Normally this takes place on the day following the death and lasts for 24 hours. Traditionally, the deceased would lie in repose in his own home, but as modern circumstances do not allow for this, a hall at the cemetery or the facility where the cremation is taking place will be prepared for this purpose. The chamber is prepared by placing a bowl of water at the entrance so that those who arrive may ritually wash their hands as they exit. This is because death is a pollution, and the ancient Greek religion. The chamber, the lament takes place in measured tones around the coffin. Honey cake, or gingerbread is offered to the people when they arrive to pay their respects. Olive branches and 4 vines wrapped with ribbon are placed beneath the casket. This over here is this vase I have here. It's a replica, it's not real. It's a bit broken because it kind of, I broke it, so Crazy Glue fixed it, but I lost a piece. And if you look here, this is a funerary vase, and there's someone here, the guy is lying in repose, and you see the women with their hands to their heads. This is them lamenting the loss of the loved one. So this depicts the lying in repose. The burial ceremony, the funerary procession, the transportation of the deceased to the burial site or cremation facility takes place on the 3rd day following the death. The procession is conducted as follows. Leading is women holding the vases containing the holy, I don't know what this word is. The coals? I don't know. Followed by the musicians, pipers, the deceased, the family, and finally friends and acquaintances. Burial. The ceremony of interment begins as soon as the funerary procession arrives at the graveside, or in the case of cremation, at the crematorium or where the ashes are to be buried. Before the burial or cremation takes place, a member of the family invokes Hermes Psychopompos, Hermes the psychopomp. And then they recite the hymn of Hermes, to Hermes Chthonios, and there's a whole hymn here. I'm not going to go through the whole hymn. And then there's a prayer to Pluton, that's Hades. There's a saying that the decomposition. The decomposition of our elements. This one's short, so I'll read this one. Fire lives the death of earth, and air lives the death of fire. Water lives the death of air, and earth the death of water. The death of earth is to become water. The death of water is to become air. And that of air is to become fire, and of fire to become ether. Saying farewell to the deceased. There's a whole thing there for that. And then some other steps. And then at the end, the funerary supper. After the burial, a dinner is held in honor of the deceased. The atmosphere is purified by burning fragrance of oils or incense. After dinner, any crumbs that may have fallen upon the table and floor are meticulously gathered and placed in a bowl, which is sprinkled on top of the grave. So those are the traditions, the process that is done within the Hellenic tradition for burial. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please leave your comments in the section below. Thank you for watching.